Hello, everybody. My name's Tony Cardenas, and this is the Indy Real Estate Market Weekly Update. Today, I'm sitting here with Kyle Morris with FC.Tucker Carmel, Shelly Walters EXP Carmel, and Justin Griffith, Keller Williams, Indy Metro, right?
And Carmel.
And Carmel.
Yes.
And Fishers.
Yes.
Hey, Kyle, how's it going?
It's going well. It's nice out. I heard it was hot over the weekend while I was out of town.
Yeah, I think you were in Lake Tahoe.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was the first time
Were
I've
you
ever
selling
been there.
real estate, or what were you doing?
We looked at some houses. I did get to see the Godfather house on the.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah. And Shelly, how we doing?
Doing great, thank you.
Justin.
I'm excited. I'm doing the fair tonight.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah, I got to go burn the calories before I go consume the calories. So
Are you gonna have
Which
deep
one are
fried
you
brownie?
having? Yes.
I'm having deep fried everything. It's going
Are
to be
you
a
really?
situation.
Isn't
yes.
there pickle pizza or something?
Yeah.
like
That's
that?
the one thing I will not be doing, but the lady friend is
Pickled
absolutely
pizza.
interested.
Well,
Yeah, you have to try it all, I guess.
Well, you know, I don't think there's going to be any real estate inside there to sell, but here, there's real estate right outside there to sell. But let's talk about the market, Kyle. What do we see that's happening this week? You know, everybody's in school. I think we've got a little tick down in the market, don't we?
Yeah. So I mean, everybody starts school. I feel like it's staggered, almost like weekly. And I think we just see, you know, these numbers that we're getting ready to go over, they're the numbers for last week. And I know a lot of Hamilton County started going back last week. Out in Hancock County, they went back the week prior to that. So you're kind of seeing that impact the numbers to a certain extent. I think, you know, these are some of the lowest numbers we've seen since, I want to say March, quite honestly, March or April, right? So it's just kind of interesting, but days on market is ticking up. It's just a really good time to be a buyer. It's just, you know, for some people right now, it's an inconvenient time to be a buyer just because of life situations with school and things like that. But I think it's going to, we were talking about before the show, like I feel like we're hitting a bottleneck again, and it's going to be pretty intense here coming up. So,
Shelly, what do you have to say about this little dip?
Well, again, school, I think, had a huge thing to do with it. In the past 7 days, we've got the stats of how many houses hit the market last 7 days for me, Carmel, Westfield, and Zionsville, and they're all way down. I do think it just has to do with school. So let's stay very positive. And a couple weeks from now, I think we'll get back to normal.
Well, you know, in my neighborhood, homes are selling, and up the road, I saw this house. I forgot the name of the neighborhood, but I thought, oh my God, there's no way this house is going to sell. And I went by it on 106 off of Westfield Boulevard. I believe it was 106. And it was gone the next day. It said sold. I couldn't believe it.
yeah, I still see things selling really, really quickly, but I just don't think that's the norm. I definitely think those houses, as we say, like if you've done a really good job preparing your house to go on the market, like you still have that possibility. But I think, you know, the average house, so to speak, you know, you're looking more at like we've crested 2 weeks at this point. I think we're approaching closer to 3 weeks on days on market. So, and even downtown, it's probably higher than that. So,
Yep.
I don't know. It's all good things. I think the bigger thing is we got to get back to educating sellers to not freak out. You know, I'm seeing low ball offers pretty consistently, and the sellers need to be educated enough to know, don't jump at it right away. Maybe engage it, kind of see what's going on. But I hate to see people leave money on the table. But I also understand buyers are trying to get their leverage back.
Well, let's when we're talking to the buyers and sellers, explain leaving money on the table, because not everybody understands that. That's really the buyers or the sellers' money, right? At the end of the day, buyers is getting a better price and the sellers is not getting such a great price, correct?
Well, let's say the seller, let's say you're like 3 days on the market and you get an offer that's like $15,000 under, and you engage it, or let's say you just take it because you want to be over with it. You know, average days on market is much longer than that. So
Absolutely.
You wouldn't necessarily even have to engage it aggressively. I would engage it very conservatively. But, you know, the fear we have with sellers is, you know, what if you don't get another one, right? Because they're not used to being in this kind of a market, right? Yeah. So I just think you got to be really educated and on top of it if you're representing a listing as far as an agent and educating your sellers.
And it's a fine line to walk too, because
yes.
if you immediately take the $15,000 off, no negotiation, you accept that, then your inspection's probably going to be aggressive too. Like they're going to say, hey, if they agree to this, they're going to agree to whatever. And then you're kind of already at a loss, you know, negotiating wise power. But
Got you.
Or what if, I was talking to a seller yesterday. It's like, how do you engage this? Because now you got to start thinking about, like, are we fighting over an extra $3,000, but we're at a place where we're going to have carrying costs for the next month. And so now you think about that mortgage payment. Does that end up becoming a wash, and we're fighting over something that's a wash in the first place?
Absolutely.
So there's just a lot that goes into it, and I just think you gotta have all your cards on the table, know what your end goal was to accomplish.
Shelly.
Well, in regards to, like you said, I think education is huge now, right, with sellers. If they are going to have a house hit the market and worry about the price, I think right up front, you need to explain where that price came from. Do the market analysis, go through it with them so that they're comfortable and understand, and not be immediately thinking, oh, we need to drop the price, or we need to accept a low price if it's lower than the list price. Because if you did your homework and did look through the stats and the market analysis correctly, you shouldn't be thinking about a price drop so quickly. I was looking at the average price drops when they're happening. So that's something we can talk about when we do our stats as well. But if they're going to have their house listed on a certain price, like you're talking, and get a $15,000 under in 3 days, back in the day, we would always say your first offer is your best offer. We're just kind of in a middle area right now where we're not quite sure, is that going to be the best offer, or should we just wait? And I get back to thinking, just 5 years ago, we would cringe if our seller would say, not taking that one. Or, well, let's just go back at list price. I mean, you just really wouldn't do stuff like that before.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like, well, should we just go back at list and see if the buyer really wants it? It's just, we're in a weird land here where, are we going to adjust right back to the way we used to do things? Or are we going to find the last 2 years, we all kind of thought outside the box and figured out how to work those 2 years. And now here for the next 6 months, there's a new way of doing this, and we're just going to daily try to figure it out the best way we can for our clients.
Yep.
What do you think about that, Justin?
No, I agree completely. One thing too with the pricing, like if I'm putting a lower offer out there, I will put like a cap on the inspection repairs still, just to show like, hey, I'm going to beat you up on this price right now, but I'm not going to kill you on the inspection. Like we're going to be, we're going to work together on this. That way it feels like both parties are winning, and then we can get to the table.
I do the same, just to show that it, like, hey, this is where we're at on price, but we're an agreeable transaction here. Like we really do want to get this thing. So
well, and you never know where they came up with that. I myself, if I do go in 15,000 under, I'll send comps and show why. Because again, what did the seller and the listing agent do in regards to coming up with that price? And if I just can't see it, and I just want to come in, my buyer loves the house and we just think it's a great house, but here's the comps we see, and this is why I'm coming up with this. I'm not trying to lowball you or give you a low price. This is just what I'm seeing, and I try to do that as well. But on the flip side, if I'm the listing agent and I do get that type of an offer, we will counter. And one of the things, if they didn't offer a floor on the inspection items, is definitely ask for that. So we'll give you this price, but please come back and you can do the inspection, do whatever you want, but let's limit what you're going to ask me to do.
It's just really interesting the way everything has been pivoting so rapidly over the past 8 weeks, because I think the agents who are in it a lot, they're the ones who are taking advantage of, because they've got listings also, so they know what they're doing when they're writing offers, and they're the ones who are kind of throwing these numbers out there, and they're getting them. I mean, I've been getting them. We've been talking about it for weeks, but you also have to be, like, also as a listing agent, in it enough to know not to just run with that just because, like, you haven't sold the house in 5 to 7 days.
I think that is a great conversation that you just started, because in regards to that, if you're a listing agent and you're in this daily and you're selling houses and you're seeing what's coming at you, you know what to throw back when you have a buyer. And I've said this a couple of times in the past. Some of my listings, I'm getting people throwing, and I don't think this will continue to happen, but getting thrown above list price, 3 days after it's been on the market, and we didn't have any offers. And that's where we talk about us. We would go in and go, well, you're 3 days in. Here's list price. Let's, I still want to, think that at 3 days or 4 days or 10 days on the market, a list price offer is a nice offer. If you have nothing else, it's not escalating, it's not competing. But the agents that, think they have to give another $20,000 just to get the house, it may be because they just haven't been having enough listings to see what's happening on the other side.
And that goes, that's a blessing, is like when you're in it enough and you have both. Because you always see people who are like, I'm only a buyer's agent, I'm only a listing agent. Like, I do both. All of us on here do both. And I actually think it's been my biggest advantage throughout my career, just because I get to see both sides of it. And so I know how to better accurately send offers or counter, whatever it may be, just because I have experience on both sides of it.
Yeah, why would you want to go into something with like an arm tied behind your back?
Yeah,
Right.
Off the
yeah,
bat?
I'll do one half of it.
Yeah.
But, there are some people that are buyer's agents and some people that are listing agents. But I feel like, and the only way I can describe it is there's like a black curtain behind the list in front of us as listing agents or this actual sale process, is because we see all the purchase agreements come to us. We see all the things that were said, all the conversations we've had with the buyer's agent. If you're one buyer's agent and all you do is talk to somebody about one house and then go move on and talk to another person about that house, you're not seeing behind that black curtain about what we're seeing, with 30 or 40 showings over and over again, and seeing how the market is reacting to our listing. It's a great educational thing to go and see.
I think that's why we were so, like the three of us in particular, were so on top of the market pivoting so quickly, just because, I'd be talking to other agents and they're like, oh, I don't see the market pivoting. And like, I would sit there and I'd be like, it is 100% pivoting. I'm telling you.
Absolutely.
Here's our numbers. Look week to week to week.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I've got this house, it's on the market, and it's a great house. And I sold it in 2 days. But I had 3 offers. I had 4 offers. I only had 2 of them were at list price, right? Like,
and you only had 20 showings instead of 50 showings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like, that's hard. That took like, probably 6 weeks to trickle down into pricing and into the market changes. But when you're on both sides of it, I was still selling it and I still sold it over list price. But I could see like the wheels moving behind it, that like it's just not the same. Same things aren't happening.
Well, and it's funny, in regards to that as well. We talk about the media as well. The media is trying to say all these things about what's going on in our market and how good or bad it is, but really we have to keep saying, if you have an agent that you can talk to, and if you're thinking of selling, get a hold of your agent and ask them what's going on in the market.
And get an agent in that area that really knows your area. I mean, here's the thing: if you're a buyer, look, we all been new, right? If you're using a new agent, hopefully they're on a good team, because they can bounce information back and forth. But, a person that's brand new, they're not going to have this knowledge, just like all of us sitting here did not have this knowledge, when it comes to mortgages, real estate, all types of deals that we work with. But the bottom line is getting someone to help you buy a home. They need a lot of experience too. That's why, if somebody's brand new, ask them if they're on a team. And if they're not, you need to get somebody that's on a team, as far as I'm concerned, so you can get some feedback and some information in your office.
Good brokerage.
Absolutely,
same thing,
good
right?
brokerage.
Like you're still on a team basically. If you're with like a Keller Williams or an FC.Tucker or an EXP,
right.
They have unlimited resources, so to speak, as far as like answering questions and stuff like that. Because I have, I've been new. I know what it's like.
Sure, we all have.
And what was great about being new,
and that goes.
wait a minute.
That goes also for the seller. Somebody, hey, I'm going to. That's crucial in this market today.
Absolutely.
I mean, nothing against the new guy listing his first home. We've all been there, but at the end of the day, you need some experience in this market. And when you're going back to the news talking about all the negative, right here, the pocket that we're in, Indianapolis, Indiana, of course sales are down, but our market is good. I mean, homes are turning. What's our average days on the market? Just for, give me Noblesville real quick there.
16 days on the market.
16 days on the market, and your home's turning. And what is it in Carmel?
Average days on market is 12.
Okay, so the bottom line is, you need a little experience behind the door that you're representing somebody.
Well, and to turn that around, if you are a brand new agent and you do feel like you're floundering or don't know what to do, and you don't want to talk to your broker, you just kind of want to go under the wing of somebody, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are looking to include other new agents. Myself,
there's a lot of help out there.
all of us, we would be willing to talk about joining a team with us, anybody out there, because you just have to look around and talk and find out what's going on. I learned through sitting around the water cooler, which I call the printer at KW, but every agent was out there to help me. So just don't think an agent is not there and, their competition. We are not in competition against each other.
Always
We're
reach
here to
out.
help.
I took a phone call last night. It was helping a newer agent write an offer and the right way to do it. I think there's plenty of somebody help me. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
Absolutely.
like I have no problem giving it back because that's what was done for me. So.
I will throw out a name. Michelle Shepard was a very good help with one of my very first listings. She was on the other side, and she was there for me and helped me immensely throughout the entire process. And, I always thought, because our MyBoard numbers show how old we are. Right. So when you see that purchase agreement come across, I was like, oh, they're looking at my MyBoard number. I know they are. And I found out they were. But I was afraid that they would look at me as a bad person. They looked at me as like, hey, can I help you with this? You might want to try this differently, or here, this really helps me. And it was really nice. So we are, I mean, this gets to just the agent part of all of this. We all here will help each other. We aren't here to screw anybody on the other side.
We're coworkers. That's
Yeah.
how I always look at it.
Yeah.
We're all coworkers. It's always funny to me, like, talk to any agent. You know, we all have had people who are like, talk to my dad, and like I have, I think everybody should talk to, the people that they have in their life as a resource for advice. But, I'll get a dad or somebody who comes in on an inspection or something like that, and he's like, I know what I'm looking at. I've sold 7 houses in my life, and I'm just kind of like, I mean, I'm trying to be polite and everything, and I'm like, no, I get it. Like I did that last week, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean. And like it's over 30 years.
gosh.
Yeah. You know what I mean.
I did
like
that last week, baby.
But I'm just saying,
I love
like
it.
we see more of it in
I
the
know.
individualized, hyper focused market. And it's just totally different. Houses are different. A house that was built 30 years ago is different than a house that was built
Absolutely.
5
the-
years
the
ago.
codes
Yeah.
have
Codes
changed.
have changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jinx.
I mean, the first house I lived in, I remember my mom said, you got to go downstairs and change the fuse, and we would unscrew the fuse.
Oh, you
and
had
screw it in.
electricity? No, I'm just
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
You had to go out and feed the horses.
No, we
Like
we
it,
were
right?
too poor to have the horses. I had to go next door and beg for food. Okay. Anyway, okay. Hey, let's get down to the stats, and I want to change it up a little bit, and I want to start off with Justin. So let's hit on Broad Ripple today, Justin. Let's talk about the market there.
Broad Ripple, we had 5 new listings this week. 3 of them are pending, so that's good news. 2 are still on the market, with a total of 20 still on the market in Broad Ripple. Average price of $409, and the average days have crept up. So right now we're at 50 days on the market.
And that's in Broad. Where is that?
Broad Ripple.
Broad Ripple, 50
But
days
just
on
20
the market.
homes. But just
I know 20 homes.
So,
I get it.
We had 3 closings this week. Average price $300,000. It's down just a little bit. All of the prices in Broad Ripple this week were anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 off at the high point. So last week everything was over ask, and this week it's a little down. So it shows that we are trending
Good week to
down.
buy a home.
Yeah.
Okay. What about Meridian Kessler?
Meridian Kessler, we had 12 new. 9 of those are pending. So that's fantastic news.
Yeah.
Market's moving. 3 of them still active, and currently we have 41 days on the market. Those prices are anywhere from 600 to 1.9.
So 600 was our low at Meridian Kessler.
That's the average price.
Okay.
Yep.
And then
we had 7 closings. 4 of the 7 were actually over asking price, anywhere from $5,000 to $35,000 over.
Which for that area
That's
is
30
actually
days
way
behind.
low.
Yeah, it's low.
Yeah, but that's 30 days behind
Yeah.
as
Yep.
well. Yeah,
Absolutely.
At least, maybe average.
Maybe 45.
But we see those numbers. Like last week, it was every one of them was over asking
Mm-hmm.
price, and this week they're slowly starting to come down. Granted, there's still some that were 30 over, but
absolutely.
it's few and far between.
And
these
that's
days.
good information, again, to talk to your sellers about, to not expect that and turn down that offer that you get first if it wasn't 50,000
Absolutely.
over.
I mean, I love Meridian Kessler. I do.
I've got
But
3 people looking there right now. It's an amazing area.
it's an amazing area, but
I have something for you after we get off.
I just don't understand that. I just don't understand that market. But I mean, I know it's a hot area. What about the next one?
Fountain Square had 7 new listings. Only 2 of those are pending. And with those 3 new ones that we have that did not sell, that's a total of 38 now. Average days on the market is 68.
68
Fountain
days.
Square has quite a few that are sitting.
Okay.
Yes. We had 2 closings this week. The average was very low, 172.5. That's fixer-uppers. I think people are
course.
still buying those. I have
Sure
a
they
couple
are.
that are listed right now that I'm getting a lot of contacts on for literally gutted homes.
172,500.
So, yeah, not bad.
Kyle's got that in his wallet.
Hey, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Extra large wallet.
Yeah.
And then the last one is Bates Hendricks. We had 6 new. 3 of those have pended. So the 3 extras leave 17 active right now. Average days on the market 70.
What's the low on Bates Hendricks?
The low was 162,000.
It's a good area.
Yep.
Good area starter home. I have a cousin that lives down there. Okay,
It's a very
Shelly,
big area though, so it's
let's go over to Carmel.
All
Give
right,
us a
Carmel, last 7 days, 31 hit the market, so very low compared to the past few weeks.
how many sold?
We had 17 of those pinned. So currently there's 121 active. So we're down about 30 active homes, anywhere between 210 and 7.9. 3 houses went back on the market. The average day on market in Carmel is just 12. And then
That's really good.
there were 24 price drops. So that was kind of where we're showing that. But I did kind of want to look at that. So we have an average day on market in Carmel. The price drops are averaging around 33 days. So they're waiting. There's, the sellers are waiting and seeing what's happening.
And you had a couple of weeks. People are getting ready for school and stuff like that. I mean, we had a weird, it's not weird. It's just normal. A couple of weeks going in the market.
Yeah, we always know it's going to be quiet around this time.
What's that number right there?
They had 8 expire in Carmel.
Okay.
I'll take their phone numbers, please.
Yeah.
I know. And that I throw that in there because, again, I've said this the past couple of weeks. Expired, that word has not been in our vocabulary for a while.
Okay, let's go over to Westfield real quick.
Westfield 25 hit the market at very low again. 6 of those pended. There's currently 160 currently active in Westfield with 199 to 1.275. 4 of those came back on the market. The average day on market in Westfield is now 28, so that's ticked up. And 3 expired there as well. 37 had a price drop out of those 160. In Zionsville, only 7 hit the market. 4 of those pended immediately. There's 47 total in the Zionsville market, on the market at $299 to $7.5 million. And then there's average day on market for Zionsville is still low, 9.
Okay.
So
that is low.
Zionsville.
7.5. Okay. So I'll chip in.
Well, hey, here's the thing on these price drops.
Well, it's interesting.
The way I look at it is this is just me as a home buyer and hiring an agent. Maybe the home buyer had too much expectations. They thought their house was worth X, Y, Z.
Home seller.
Home seller. And, that could have cost them a sale, the way I look at it.
Well, think about this, too. Like, those houses, 33 days on market, right, and is when they're doing price drops. That's literally listing the week before 4th of July, right, which is going to be
you're right.
tough. And then we have 4th of July week, and you literally have 2 weeks, and then schools started back up because the way schools are these days.
Absolutely.
Like, it's just crammed right in there all of a sudden. So it's like if you sold it, like, really quickly, you were good. Otherwise, like, it's kind of anticipated it was going to be a little bit slow to a certain extent, right? And then I've got sellers right now who are, they want to go in the market, and they're just like, looking at these numbers, and rightfully so with their opinions as well, they're like, we're going to list second week of September and wait till we get through Labor Day, right? Because then fourth quarter will start to tick up and everything like that. So I literally have people who aren't even going to list for, 4 weeks out right now, who are ready to go right now just because of their life, situation. They know that they wouldn't be willing to buy right now. So
okay, let's jump over your neck of the woods and more of Hamilton County, Fishers, Noblesville area.
So in Fishers, we had 32 go on the market, anywhere from 250 to 1.4. 22 of them are still active. 10 of them sold this week. There's 139 actually total active on the market, which was a decent amount. Fishers had they went from 16 to 17 days on market this week, though. So for their average days on market,
Still super low.
it's so low. It's so low, right?
Exactly.
Which is interesting though, because 4 weeks ago it was 7. I do remember that, right?
Yep.
So, and then in Noblesville we had 39 go on the market, anywhere from 189 to 1.8. 27 of them are still active, and 12 of them sold. There's 119 actively on the market. Their days on market is 16 though. But like we were talking about, like I have people who want to wait and all this stuff right now to list. That's for a listing. I actually think right now, if you're a buyer, go right now. There is less competition. There is inventory.
Rates
Things
are down a little bit.
Rates are low.
Rates are down right now.
Yeah. If you're a buyer, like, I'd go, because here's the thing. It's like, hey, schools, whatever. I hate to talk about schools all the time, but like, it's just reality. You don't want to buy a house when all this stuff's going on. Well, you would just get it under contract right now. Like, you actually wouldn't be moving for most likely 4 weeks, which is when you would want to be moving, right? So actually, if you're a buyer, this is probably an ideal time to be out there.
Yeah, I even had that unique property. I had a client call me this week. He's an investor and wanted to sell his fourplex, but didn't want to list it, didn't want to lose the property management on it, and asked if I could help him with that, and actually sold it in 2 weeks for full asking price, and we got a 3-week close on it. Just still can sell it as long as it's marketed well. Like, being able to market a property off market and get, $65,000 more than you paid for it a year ago. It's impressive.
I've heard a lot about multifamily lately, actually. I don't know where. Like the past 2 months, a lot of people moving multifamily.
Yep.
Yeah, that's always hot, especially the area you're talking about all the time, Justin.
Yeah. Well, rates go up, and it's like rental rates go up too. So
Absolutely.
It's like, park your money there. You know that the rates are going to go up. You get the more money. It's better return on investment.
Well, let me ask you this. So I know we talked about this at the beginning of the show just a little bit. So someone's getting ready to list their house right now. Okay. What would be the number one or number 2 or 3 pieces of advice that you would give somebody? Let's all share this real quick.
Well, I know I'm working with a seller right now who we had this conversation yesterday of when to list it, like we're talking about. And the conversation got all the way down to when to close because they are trying to buy something as well. So sellers need to understand that we can put a whole package together for them of, when they're going to have their price or their house sold. And what we can tell is the buyers in our, agent remarks on these listings, we can say, here's what our seller needs. We can still do this. So if your seller, like you were talking about, Kyle, that was thinking about the best for their life is you could still get these houses on the market. And then if you have a time that you need to close, that can be adjusted with the closing date or, a little bit of post-possession. Because that, something that has been being done as well. So just to me, just if your seller has any reservations about the timing or how I can or why I should, just let them know that we can work it out for their life and what their family's going through right now and what's coming up in the next 60 days.
Okay. And your advice?
For me, it's condition, price, and expectation. I mean, those are the biggest things, right? Like they all play into each other, right? So the condition of your house helps set the tone of the price of the house, which helps temper the expectations of what you think is going to happen with this whole situation. It's just not what it was this time last year, right? So those are the biggest things that I think we continue to have conversations about are those 3 things.
Gotcha. Justin?
Yeah, piggyback off that. Mine is the condition. So, a year ago, you would say, don't worry about fixing this. Don't worry about painting this. Like, it's fine. Now it's get it painted, get it ready. Do not try to list a home that needs anything fixed because if it comes up, it could be an issue, a deal breaker. And it's like once you have them on the hook, you don't want to lose it. So, So just have it list ready.
Perfect.
And that gets back to doing the pre-inspection if you can, if you will, because then if you're going to want to have a we said we were having to ask them to do a floor on their inspection item, and actually we've done the inspection, here it is, and here's everything we've already fixed. Can we just get rid of this right off the bat and let's move straight to closing? Yeah,
that actually has bit me on the, recently we had a listing that was a flip and didn't have it pre-inspected. Had an inspection once they got a buyer on it, and there was like quite a bit of issues. They were minor. First time home buyer though got scared, walked. Home appraised for $285. We got it listed now at $257. So
wow.
Where
are we at on rates though? I mean, we got all this stuff going on.
Right now you're right around 5.25%, 5.5%. Some rates are up at 5.75, subject to your credit score. They're really dinging on credit score. So the guy that's walking around with a 780. Not everybody is, or an 800. He's getting the best deal in town. The guy that's pivoting down a little bit and he's in the 680s or he's at 720, they're going to pay a little bit more. And I'm telling you right now, I don't care what anybody says, the banks are higher on rates, period. Banks are higher on rates. They always have been. Their closing cost is a little bit different. I'm not banging the banks. It's just a fact. If you go through a lender, which is or a broker, you're going to get better rates. Okay, there's just no ands, ifs, or buts about it. You get a little bit faster process. You get a little bit different service. They're not selling checking accounts and investments and everything else. They're selling their mortgage. They want to get you there, and they want to do a good job and get you referrals. So the rates are going to increase here soon. I'm just telling you, they're right around the corner. If you don't believe me, read the Wall Street Journals or the Barron's report. It talks about it every day, and people need to get qualified, get requalified, make sure you can afford what's going on. But the nice thing is, like we said the last few shows, hey, I'll buy a house with a $20,000 or $15,000 or a $10,000 price drop, and I'll pay a little bit more on the rate. Once again, marry the house, date the rate. And that means, go out and get yourself a 7-year ARM or a 5-year ARM for a short time, because within 5 years or 7 years, I guarantee you're going to refinance. And if you're smart, you won't refinance back to a 30. You'll go straight to a 20. And I've seen several people go to a 15.
It's just interesting human behavior as you're talking about that. It's like people are afraid to do that, like 10K under, right? But they're going to be paying, their interest rates a little bit higher. But people had zero problem dropping 80K liquidity over the purchase price, but for their lower rate, right?
And trust me, a lot of those cash deals were cash deals, but at the end of the day,
they mortgage them.
Oh, they mortgage them all the time. Cash. I don't care about cash.
Leverage for
but hey,
offer.
We're running a little long on the show. Shelly, if they want to get a hold of you, what company are you with first?
You guys can reach me. I am at EXP Shelly Walters Realty Group. My cell phone is 77201-2601.
Justin, how did they get a hold of you, and what company are you with?
Keller Williams, Indy Metro Northeast. My phone number is 317-507-5599, and website is fishers.realestate. That is actually the name.
So you're Northeast, so you can't sell anything on the
sell
west
anything
side?
I got that too. And then we also got customcontainerbuilders.com. We will build a container home on your lot.
Okay, good. And Kyle Morris, what company are you with?
Morris Property Group with FC.Tucker, and you can get a hold of me 317-649-5122.
Okay, everybody, thank you, and we'll see you next week.